What's going on, everyone? It's Alex Miller from the Eagle, joined by Travis L. Brown. It's Friday night. It's the state semifinals of the Texas High School Football Playoffs. Travis, you were in Mesquite tonight watching Franklin take on Wascom in a 3A Division II state semifinal. Hey, what'd you see from the Lions in their big win?
Yeah, it was a very different game that they faced than pretty here. They knew it was going to be physical. They knew it was going to be their biggest test of the season against a Wascom team that they beat last year by 1 point, and they lost the state semifinals in 2015. And it was everything that was it was billed to be: hard hitting, a lot of yards on the ground, a quick game. But it really came down to a forced fumble by Malcolm Murphy at the end of the game, down at about the 8-yard line, their own 8-yard line, when there was a big run that gave them the ball back and allowed them to run the clock all the way out to the end of the game after they had scored to go ahead by 6, though they missed the point after attempt. A lot of excitement, a lot of people who are really wanting to get back and kind of avenge a state title loss last year. And so people were pretty happy at Mesquite Memorial.
Yeah, what was the difference in the second half? Because I saw at one point it was tied at 14, and then, Franklin must have done something to pull ahead and then, seal the deal, aside from that fumble, of course.
Yeah, it was a lot of not playing your man on defense, not blown assignments on defense, because Wascom runs that kind of triple option style, veer style offense. So pretty much if they handed the ball off to the running back, Franklin was able to stuff it and stop it right up the middle. But it was when the quarterback pulled it and either ran it himself or ran the kind of speed option part of that triple option that gave them some fits as they blew some assignments. And Coach Mark Fannin said in the second half that biggest adjustment was making sure everybody knew what their assignment was and sticking to it. And they were able to really stop that Wascom offense a lot better in the second half.
Yeah, after the game, talking with coach and maybe some players, what were some of the key thoughts and notes that they said about the game and the victory?
A lot of it's pretty funny. Bobby Washington finished with 147 yards on 18 carries and 2 touchdowns, none bigger than the nail in the coffin run he had on the final drive of the game. And everyone would laugh at saying that that's just Bobby doing Bobby things, because they were just trying to run the clock out, move the ball slowly down the field as time went out. And he just busted out what ended up being a 63-yard run at the end of the game. Put it away, and they actually got a 2-point conversion to make sure that there wasn't any discrepancies there, because they did miss that PAT earlier in the game. But a lot of talk about just Bobby doing Bobby things, and a lot of talk about how physical the game was, how hard hitting the game was, and that's exactly what they expected. Alex, I'll bounce it back on you. What was the keys to the big College Station win today?
Yeah, it went back to College Station's bread and butter. It's that run game. It's Marquise Collins. The College Station offense, it was electric in that first quarter. They raced out to a 14-0 lead. It looked like nothing was going to stop them, and then they hit a brick wall. I mean, Summit really tightened up, really held the Cougars at bay those second and third quarters. And then in the fourth, they went to their guy, Marquise Collins, the guy that they've gone to all throughout the playoffs, and really just made it happen. It was patience and persistence, but it was that run game that really did the Summit defense in, that they couldn't hold Marquise Collins to 4 quarters. And hey, kudos to that Cougar offensive line. They were playing a really talented front 4 against Summit. They got Joseph Adedere that's going to TCU. They got a couple other guys that are just really huge up front, and they did a really good job opening lanes and breaking holes for Collins to run through. So that was really the key to victory. Travis, bouncing it back to you, what was kind of the post-game feel for the Franklin faithful as they get ready to go back to the state title game for the second straight year?
Well, if you were driving through Franklin tonight, needed to stop off at a gas station, maybe pick up a cold Dr. Pepper or some candy or something, there's no way that anything in that town was open, because I'm pretty sure the entire town made the 165-mile trip up to Mesquite Memorial Stadium. And it was loud, it was noisy. And at the end, there was players just all strewn about into the stands, hanging out and talking to people. And it was 45 minutes after the game ended, and there was still people hanging out and talking and celebrating after that game. It's where they wanted to be. The whole season's kind of led up to this point, and it'll be definitely a tough one against, I believe it's Gunter in the
Yes.
State playoffs, or excuse me, the state finals at AT&T next week. Alex, what do you think about these two matches? We got two teams from the Brazos Valley back in the state tournament, state finals coming up. What's your early thoughts on how these games will match up?
Yeah, I think these are two really stiff matchups. I mean, you think about a Pato team that has just pummeled through teams. I mean, they beat Corpus Christi Flower Bowl 73-14. I mean, this is a state semifinal game, and they scored 73 and held their opponent to 14. I mean, that is very impressive. Paytow's a very athletic team. You know, this is a team that College Station sees in every other sport in their district. And just so happens that, you know, the way the lines are drawn, that they're in different regions somehow in football. And so, yeah, I think this is going to be a game of athleticism. It's going to be a very good game between two very talented teams. And hey, Pato's kind of the up and coming school in that Katy area. You know, this is very similar to that run that College Station had back in 2017 when they went and beat Aledo in AT&T Stadium to win the 5A Division II state championship. So on that front, this is going to be a really good game. Really stiff test for College Station, and Paytow's a very good team that has definitely earned everyone's respect. As far as Franklin goes, I mean, this is the game that everybody has been waiting for. I mean, it's 1 versus 2. It's Franklin versus Gunter. You know, I think going into the playoffs, a lot of people expected it to be a lot of chalk going into this game, playoff run in that division, and the chalk held. You know, Gunter's a very talented team. Their quarterback's going to go play at Texas Tech under Joey McGuire, new head coach. They run kind of that weird pistol option offense, and they're a really good team. I mean, Franklin has just pummeled through teams as well, kind of similar to Katy Paytow. This is going to be their toughest test yet. We'll get into that more next week, of course. But from the onset, I mean, this is a really great matchup. This is going to be a really good game. And hey, how about that? You know, these two teams, they're going to be under the lights, all eyes on them. You know, there are, I think, 11 state championship games. College Station gets the Friday night game. I mean, there's only one of those slots of all the state championship games, and College Station gets that one. So this is the ultimate Friday night lights game. So I'm really excited to go to Arlington. I think we're going to have two really good games, and we'll see if some Brazos Valley teams can bring home some hardware that's covered in gold.
I like it. Hey, you got to get out of there. I got to write some stories, and we got to get into this next week. So sign us out, man.
All right. Hey, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Be sure to check theeagle.com for all of our coverage on tonight's games, and be sure to check back next week for all of our coverage leading up to the state championship games. Travis Brown, I'm Alex Miller. We'll see you next time.